I need to have a clean up eventually. But basically, this stream's just going to be me giving my thoughts on some of the new things that have been released slash teased for the next couple of months of the MCU. Obviously She-Hulk is now officially wrapped up, so most of my negativity is going to be quite undermined by the things I'm just excited for this stream. Obviously the main thing that was plaguing the MCU for the past 9 weeks was She-Hulk. I don't really want to get into that too much. I might just briefly start off with where I think went wrong with that show. We're going to jump into a Iron Spider suit. I'm in a fairly good mood with the MCU because I just rewatched the first Black Panther movie. Obviously, because Wakanda Forever is out. Oh my god, 1 minute. Oh god. Stop doing it. Sorry about that. It is Bonfire Night. Happy Bonfire Night, by the way, guys. If you're in the UK, of course. But yeah, this is going to be a She-Hulk. Just going to start off with that. I don't want to get the vibe down too much by talking about it, so I'm just going to briefly say, yep, I hated it. The finale. Now I'm going to be honest. I was in a very, very bad place at the time of watching the finale as well, so that just kind of it felt like salt in the wound a bit. So yeah, I just hated the finale. However, I will say that I'm glad that the series it's kind of put something into perspective based on the new trailers. I'm glad the series is over because it does mean that now more time can be spent on the remaining projects. I just don't want to get into why I hated it so much. I just thought the whole thing was ridiculous. Visually, it was awful. The Hulk versus Abomination fight was actually laughable. I didn't laugh because I was just annoyed, but yeah, I found it unfunny. Even having Daredevil back didn't help it at all. Like, I hate to say it, but it just really wasn't helped. I genuinely feel like it was just a waste of space of a show, and I will never be revisiting She-Hulk again. I can say the same for Ms. Marvel as well. I feel like those two in particular are where Phase 4 have struggled and flopped. There's nothing I mean, Phase 4, in my opinion, has been fantastic. The only three projects that have just not really been for me are She-Hulk, Ms. Marvel, and the Eternals. Everything else, I've just adored it, honestly. Yeah, She-Hulk, I just hated it. It was such a... It was a really bad joke of a show. That's all I could say for it. It was clearly written on the intent of just bashing men and making them look stupid. Really forced, really cringy. And yeah, it just kind of felt like a cheap version of The Mandalorian. I don't mean to insult The Mandalorian at all, but what I mean by that is the fact that it just constantly relied on cameos. Mando and Boba Fett, they used the cameos effectively, they used them well. You know, even with Ahsoka Tano and Luke Skywalker, you know, they used those cameos well, and they are literally just cameos. Like, they didn't really do anything, they didn't serve a huge part of the story. They just kind of did their thing. And that the characters here, I can't really say they did that. I really can't. like the Hulk as well. The Hulk should have been in. I know they're trying to set up World War Hulk. Obviously, they've done that with Scar as well. Scar, Son of Hulk, which, yeah, what is that? By the way, he doesn't. Yeah, it looks stupid. I'm sorry, I don't mean to like. I think they're doing that to set up the Young Avengers, but that's just stupid. I hate it so much. Honestly, just have Scar in Kang Dynasty and let that be it. You know, I just really hated that. Yeah, I just less said on that the better. Oh god, that's pretty cool. Where else do I go with this? I forgot what I was saying. God damn it, She-Hulk. Thanks again. Yeah, the Daredevil episode was great, but that got kind of undermined. And even Daredevil in the finale couldn't save She-Hulk. It was nice seeing his costume in broad daylight. I don't think that's never been done before. But even then, you know, it didn't. Actually, I'll take it back. It has been done. It was done in Defenders. Yeah, it couldn't save the show for me. Moving on, I do want to talk a bit about Wakanda Forever. I've only seen the teaser trailer and the main trailer, and not watched any of the TV spots, and I don't intend on either, because that film looks phenomenal. It feels like a fantastic final film to Phase 4. I'm very much excited to see what it brings. I think Phase 4 is going to be, Phase 5 is going to be off to a magnificent start as well, which we'll get into in a second. But Wakanda Forever, I feel like is going to be an extraordinary film, and I'm glad the reviews as well are addressing that it's emotional. I think a lot of people have been kind of just joked out, and I think after She-Hulk I definitely have as well. Like I like the comedy in Love and Thunder. I know most people hated it. However, like, I'm glad that the tone is being brought back to its brought back to its roots, especially considering this film is also not only is it the end of Phase 4, it's also you know, it marks the end of Chadwick Boseman's story as well, who unfortunately passed away 2 years ago, and it is you know, writing out T'Challa in the MCU. So it is a very important film, and I'm glad that they're getting it right, and I'm glad it's being respected, because I feel like at the moment a lot of it feels like Marvel isn't being as respected as it was. I think with certain things, you know, certain things have been not so good, you know, especially in terms of the tone and the comedy. I feel like it's just been a bit much at times. I'm glad Marvel is getting back into its roots. Before I quickly talk about Ant-Man in relation to comedy, because I do think that film will also be quite funny, but also really dark in some places, or in most cases of the film. I do want to quickly talk about Werewolf by Night, the presentation that came out early last month. Obviously, in relation to Halloween, it's perfect timing. I didn't watch it on Halloween. I just watched the new Walking Dead episode. But Werewolf by Night, what a unexpected joy that was. I have to admit, I'm very when I heard about Werewolf by Night, I just didn't really care, because I'd never really I knew who Man-Thing was, and I had heard of a werewolf in the MCU. I never learned anything about it though, so I didn't really care that we were getting a special based on Werewolf by Night. But I watched it, and I loved it. It was different, it was unique. It kind of felt like WandaVision in some cases with how, you know, how abstract it was compared to the, you know, the standard MCU format. It was just a really good special. It wasn't a movie, it wasn't a series, it was just a good special. And I think that's got me more and more excited now for the Guardians of the Galaxy special, which I'll talk about in a bit, because that's just had a trailer drop for it. And yeah, I just really enjoyed yeah, I just really enjoyed the Werewolf by Night. I think it was an excellent piece of cinematography. Michael Giacchino, who is obviously a very renowned musical composer, in not just the MCU but in many franchises, even Batman, especially Pixar, and so many amazing films. Michael Giacchino has been the score behind. It kind of feels like the Alan Silvestri of the MCU at the moment, because obviously he did the biggest tracks. Michael Giacchino, he's done some pretty big tracks. You know, he's done Love and Thunder, all the Spider-Man films. He did the first Doctor Strange. Obviously his score was also used in Multiverse of Madness. It was Danny Elfman that used it, and did his own thing with it. But yeah, Michael Giacchino as a director, I am thoroughly impressed. I genuinely hope that he comes back. He's asked to do more things like this. I do believe that was his directorial debut as well, which I have to say congratulations to the man. That is such a fantastic achievement in itself, and what a way to begin a directorial career. That was such a wonderful piece of cinema or cinematography. I think what made Werewolf by Night so special, of course the Avengers, was just how it didn't take itself too seriously, which is what I think works with Marvel. Sometimes they don't take themselves seriously at all, which I think is a problem. However, they're also not afraid to just try stuff out, which, you know, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You know, that's why we've had a lot of things change over the years, especially with different characters like Thor, and you know, with like Ant-Man as well. Like, we've had a lot of things over the years that kind of just really just to kind of test the waters really and see how they work. Werewolf by Night did exactly that, and honestly, it's gotten me to a point where I hope more characters are introduced through specials instead of just constant TV shows and movies, because these specials are, you know, they're relatively, you know, Werewolf by Night was about an hour, which is, you know, normally the same extent as one Disney Plus show. You just had a clear beginning, middle and end. There's been rumours galore about a Silver Surfer special, a Nova special. I'm like, okay, now you're just literally doing that to guess who's next. You're not even doing it to guess next, you're doing it to get clicks. But if they were to do something like that, I'd be all down for it, because these specials work. They've got me really excited for the Guardians special. Bear in mind, I love the Guardians, and I know my mates at uni do as well. They are such a fantastic ensemble of characters, and I cannot wait for the third film. I'm going to be proudly making a trip back to North Wales for that, and finishing the trilogy with my brother. But yeah, Guardians 3, or Guardians special, Werewolf by Night, what a success that was. It's great that Marvel can take D-list characters and bring them to the forefront, and I think, you know, they've tried it with Eternals. I didn't think it worked. Shang-Chi, I'm actually quite keen to give another go now. I'll get onto that when I talk about Ant-Man. However, yeah, I'm just really impressed with what Marvel did. If there was any characters I wanted to be introduced through a special, I'd honestly have to go with the likes of Silver Surfer, even though I doubt that'd be the case personally. I think Silver Surfer will likely be introduced in either a Guardians project, or possibly even Eternals 2, I feel like is more likely for Silver Surfer. I don't think it would happen in, you know, I don't think it'd be another Fantastic Four film, because they've already done, you know, Marvel's already done that with a different style, you know, with Fox instead of the MCU. I don't think the MCU would just repeat that. But in terms of other characters I want introduced through specials, honestly, the sky's the limit. Honest to God, there are so many characters. In fact, I feel like we should be getting specials instead of shows for certain characters, even characters that already exist. For example, a Kang special, or, you know, a Yelena Belova special, or just something like that to kind of, you know, keep the momentum going, and also just elaborate for a bit on people's stories. But yeah, so that's my closing point on Werewolf by Night. And there's so many characters that I think deserve a special. And after She-Hulk, I'm now convinced that they should be introduced through a special, not so much just any old show. So right now, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I do want to talk a bit about this film because I think it looks fantastic. This film in particular, I am getting some really ominous vibes from it, which I'm loving. However, it also has me quite worried for our characters. Obviously, Marvel films are no secret to, or no stranger to, having a really dark and brooding third film. This is why, you know, I think a lot of people are going to be dreading both this film and Guardians 3, bearing in mind that every single third film in an MCU trilogy tends to be really dark and depressing, i.e. look at Iron Man 3, Captain America Civil War, Thor Ragnarok, Avengers Infinity War, Spider-Man No Way Home. They are really dark, really brooding, and I can't wait to see where Scott Lang ends up at the end of this movie, if he even ends up making it to the end of the movie. Basically, just get straight to the point. I genuinely think that Scott Lang is brown bread at the end of this film. I think he's dead. You know, we've never seen anyone look so, you know, screwed, really, for lack of better terms. I think this film's going to be dark because it is the end of the Ant-Man trilogy. I don't see Peyton Reed planning on extending it and doing more. I kind of hope he doesn't, only because I feel like everyone's now getting a fourth and fifth and sixth film, you know. With Spider-Man, it's kind of different because it doesn't look like John Watts is coming back, so we'll have a new perspective, a new vision on Spider-Man. However, with Ant-Man, I do feel like this will be the end of his run in the MCU. I feel like it'd be quite game-changing as well, because normally the start of the phase is quite you know, ominous and optimistic. You know, this is the third phase of the MCU where the end of a trilogy has kicked it off. You know, start of phase 2 was Iron Man 3, the start of phase 3 was Captain America Civil War, and obviously the start of phase 5 is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I feel like this film has to be dark because it is introducing Kang the Conqueror, who is at this current moment the next big bad of the MCU. I say at this current moment because I do think that we are going to meet Doom soon, and if the MCU wants to follow, or, you know, loosely go off what the comics did, I do see a massive possibility that Secret Wars will be tackling both Kang and Doctor Doom. Bearing in mind those two have quite a intense feud in the comic books anyway, so I do think that film is going to see those two go up against each other in an epic fight scene, which I really hope is the case. I don't think Doom will kill Kang. I'd love him to, but personally I think that's going to go to Wanda. but no, this film I feel like has to be really strong in the way it sets up Kang the Conqueror, and it introduces him for the first time. The tone of the film looks, from the trailer, looks fantastic, because it does have its charms, it does have its wits that all the Ant-Man films have, but this film, the stakes look huge. I don't see everyone making it out of this film alive. One thing I do also pick up on is how little we're getting of Hank Pym, which does also make me think that he is going to die. I think it'd be quite fitting if both the Ant-Men are killed off, because obviously Scott took over from Hank Pym, but I do think that we'll have, you know, we'll still have Wasp, we'll still have Stinger. Is that a name, Stinger? Or Stature? I don't know. Stinger. Stinger will join the new Avengers. Not sorry, the young Avengers, and then obviously Hope will avenge Scott. And yeah, I do feel like this film's going to be really dark. I feel like this will also be, if Scott does die, this will be the first time the lead character of a film has died in that film and stayed dead. Because normally in most big Marvel movies, the characters either killed, the main character is either killed off in an Avengers film, or they're killed off in an Avengers film. So yeah, I think it would be really, really shocking if Scott Lang is killed off in this film. We didn't see any of MODOK, which, you know, I'm indifferent on. Personally, I don't really like MODOK that much as a villain, but I'm excited to see what Marvel does, because it's Marvel. They never fail on in my opinion, they never fail with good villains. I think the only time I have to think about that was, oh wait, there was a villain I really disliked recently. Oh yeah, the She-Hulk one. And the Ms. Marvel one. But yeah, sorry, I'm just going to reply to a snap, because I hate leaving people undelivered. Quick break. Also, I bit me drink. Alright, I think we're on. Back on. Right. Where was I? Yeah, so the film needs to create a strong story. Just giving my thoughts on Kang. He looks badass. I'm even quite impressed with how they did the blue face thing. It looks... The blue face kind of looks... now this intrigues me. It looks a bit more like an energy shield, which we actually saw in both Endgame and Guardians 2, with the whole space bubble protection suit thing. It kind of gives me that kind of vibe. We also saw it again in the Quantum Realm suits, which I think will be awesome if we see them again. I love those suits from Endgame. partly have to love them because they were back in 2019 they were the only things that were being marketed with Endgame. But no, the Kang design looks so good. I really can't wait to see what Kang does. I also love the army as well, Kang's army, which honestly makes me quite excited that we're going to get another scene that's similar to the Avengers Assemble scene, where we do see all the Avengers assemble to basically take on that army. I think it'd be really cool, and plus with the multiverse saga, it'd be great to see the team led by Doctor Strange and Wanda with all these different counterparts of our heroes. And I do think this film's also going to tap back into that as well, obviously with Kang being a ambassador for all conquering universes. I think we are going to see yeah, right, one moment. Yeah. Honestly, I think Kang might be my most anticipated part of this movie. Jonathan Majors looks like he's going to do an astonishing job. Yeah, Kang was the best. That was the highlight of the trailer for me. He looks fantastic. I kind of hope that Marvel Studios takes a similar approach to Kang to the one we saw in Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Not only because I love that show, but also I feel like that series handled Kang fantastically. That series had a very big driving arc for Kang the Conqueror, because obviously he hated Captain America. So now that Kang is being introduced post Infinity Saga, with we don't have Tony and Steve anymore, I think that Scott Lang is going to fulfill that role instead of being the one that Kang is gunning for. I think that would be really cool, actually. And it makes sense. The only remaining Avenger, and I say the word specifically Avenger, that went on the time heist, is Scott Lang. Hulk's kind of left the team. Rocket, Nebula, and Thor, they all left the team as well. They've all pretty much gone into retirement at this point, bar Rocket and Neb. I do feel like that we are going to really explore the events of Endgame and how the leadership of Tony and Steve really did drive the team to this point, and how the Infinity Saga really was critical in the events of the time. Because I feel like a lot of people are afraid that the Multiverse Saga is going to undermine what the Infinity Saga did for the MCU. I feel like this film's going to do the opposite, where it's because of the Infinity Saga that the MCU's now expanded into the Multiverse Saga, and the consequences of Endgame and of Infinity War and the 5-year blip and the snap and all of that stuff is going to officially come into action. One of my only major criticisms of Phase 4 is that hasn't been explored enough. We've had snippets here and there in WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier and even Loki, as to some of the things that happened because of the 5 years, and obviously with Wong becoming Sorcerer Supreme and all these different things, which has been amazing. I've loved it every time it's happened. However, I feel like we haven't had enough of it. We haven't even tapped into what was it like in space with all the rest of the universe when half the universe went missing. You know, that's just what you know, I feel like that can't really be forgotten. I'm getting really annoyed with this electric thing. I don't even know why. There you go. Stop. I don't even know why it does it. But yeah, I'm just really glad that that's now being adhered to. Alright. Yeah, so I do hope the Multiverse Saga really does tap into what the Infinity Saga did and the consequences of that and the ripple effect. And I think Kang the Conqueror's, in effect, a perfect villain to really go into on that. Because Kang the Conqueror is from all universes, so it, you know, he explores how critical the Infinity Saga universe was to end up combining things from, you know, like the Raimiverse or the Webverse, or the X-Men universe, or even the animated X-Men universe, because we know that's going to tie in somehow. Otherwise, Marvel wouldn't make it. But yeah, yeah, Marvel is really looking good with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I feel like that'll be the next big heavy hitter of the Multiverse Saga. I know we just had Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I'm kind of hoping that one of the next movies to be announced is a Scarlet Witch one. I feel like at this point the only two movies I really want to see are once see announced is a Spider-Man 4 and I forget what it's called. Yeah, a Scarlet Witch and Spider-Man movie. They're all the one. We've got Deadpool 3 coming, we've got the mutants coming, we've got all these other critical aspects of the MCU that are coming. I feel like the Multiverse Saga should really... I feel like a Scarlet Witch movie before the Kang Dynasty should justify an absence in the Kang Dynasty, very similar to Ant-Man in Infinity War, how Ant-Man and the Wasp explained why Scott Lang wasn't in Infinity War at all. And, you know, I feel like the Scarlet Witch is probably not going to show up in the Kang Dynasty because she should have her own movie. There are, like, different reports of a Wonder Man series she'll be in, or a Vision Quest series she'll be in. Talks of her returning in Agatha Coven of Chaos. I personally think it should be a Scarlet Witch movie that she next shows up in to set up Secret Wars exclusively with Doctor Doom. I feel like a Doctor Doom and Scarlet Witch, you know, fight would be just the coolest thing going. Especially after the Fantastic Four as well, because then you can introduce Doom in the Fantastic Four, have him show up again in his own series, and then have him show up again in whatchamacallit, a Scarlet Witch movie, and then have him be in Secret Wars. I think that would just be absolutely phantasmagorical. Secret Invasion, we'll talk a bit about Secret Invasion. That film, well, that series looks excellent. I'm so excited to have a good Disney Plus show again. We've not had one of them since Moon Knight. It's been, by then it would have been a year. You know, all we've had this year is Moon Knight, Ms. Marvel, and She-Hulk. The trio that got revealed at D23 in 2019. Yeah, that was just not fun. Only one of the three of them was actually good, in my opinion, so it's great that we're getting Secret Invasion. This is going to feel like a Far From Home follow-up, and also an Endgame one as well, because I think it's going to answer the question as to which Nick Fury was at Tony Stark's funeral. Was it actually Nick Fury or was it Talos? I would be very annoyed if it was Talos, because one, they never even met, and two, Nick Fury and Talos, or Nick Fury and Tony Stark started the MCU together. He should have been there for Nick's funeral, for Tony's funeral. But yeah, Secret Invasion does look fantastic. Emilia Clarke looks excellent. I love Emilia Clarke. Ben Mendelsohn as well. Samuel L. Jackson just looks amazing back in the role. I really hope this is going to be a Winter Soldier type thing, kind of like what Falcon and Winter Soldier was. I loved Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think it might be one of my favourite Disney Plus shows. I've rewatched it twice. Actually, no, I think 3 times. Yeah, I've rewatched it 3 times, and I can't get enough of it. I can't wait for New World Order, and you know, I'd love more shows in the tone of you know, that series. It's great that we're seeing Don Cheadle again. He's been very absent from Phase 4, besides a quick cameo in Falcon and Winter Soldier Episode 1. It's great because obviously we have also received news on Armor Wars, which is now being developed into a movie. I personally feel like it's going to become a special. But if it is a 2-hour movie, that's great. Hopefully the budget's good and we get to see some really good CGI and visual effects with Rhodey's suits. And I do feel like I have my theories on Armor Wars as well, and how that will tie in with the Kang Dynasty. And I'm really excited for it, honestly. Armor Wars was my second most anticipated series after Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because I love Don Cheadle as an actor. I love War Machine as a character. I think his suits sometimes look even better than Tony's. I think the only time where only 2 films where I think, no, I'm sorry, but Tony has the better suits here were Infinity War and Endgame. But even then, Rhodey still has just gorgeous suits. I love Don Cheadle again, as I said. I'm so glad he got recast. Terrence Howard got recast. Nothing against him. I think he's an amazing actor, Terrence Howard. But Don Cheadle was born for that role of James Rhodes. He's just, yeah, Rhodey is such a great character, and I'm so happy to see that he's now getting a movie. Which obviously he's wanted that since Iron Man 3. So it's finally happening, and he's not even on a contract anymore. He's just doing it because he wants to. He knows he'll get paid. He's just going to do it. And I do feel like, honestly, I do feel like Rhodey. I do feel like because of the fact he's not on a contract, he's probably going to die at some point. I think it'll probably be Kang Dynasty or Secret Wars where he's killed off. But I do see Rhodey on his way out eventually. My only hope for Secret Invasion is that Rhodey has a much bigger role, and hopefully we see him suit up again. We've not seen him suit up since Endgame. I'd assume he has quite a few more suits since then, because obviously it's been quite a couple of years at this point. Well, it's been about 2 years since Endgame at this point. We're in real time, we're catching up quite quickly to the Endgame timeline. Obviously next October we've officially caught up with the 5-year time jump in Endgame, so that'll be really freaky in a way, because Endgame still feels like yesterday. But now it's over 3.5 years ago now. But yeah, I think so far the multiverse saga, especially with Secret Invasion as well, I feel like Secret Invasion is going to set up another aspect of the thing, you know, the multiverse saga. I theorise that we've already seen a lot of the Secret Invasion stuff teased. We've had it teased with I think we've had it teased with Falcon and the Winter Soldier as well, especially with that post-credit scene. Genuinely think Sharon's a Skrull. I'm just putting that out there. I think Secret Invasion is going to answer that. If it doesn't, then you know clearly it's New World Order related, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, I think Secret Invasion is going to start getting that thriller whodunit aspect back into the MCU. We haven't really had that since the likes of the Winter Soldier, Captain America: Civil War. That real political game changer of what's going on, and hopefully we'll get to see Nick Fury kind of explore his character on just what he's thinking over everything that's happened, because obviously after Age of Ultron he went very mute. We didn't hear from him at all in Civil War. We saw him at the end of Infinity War and obviously at the end of Endgame, but we haven't really seen what he's been through at all. We don't actually know if Nick Fury was the one who died in the snap or if it was Talos. I think personally it was Nick that died in the snap. That's just my personal take on it. I don't see it being Talos. I think it was Nick, and then maybe after Tony's funeral is like, right, I'm going off into space, I've got some stuff to sort out, and then Talos obviously took Nick Fury's place. But yeah, I'm very intrigued as to where the MCU's going at the moment. I think the past couple of projects, in my opinion, have been quite rubbish. The only two really I'm talking about, or three, are Ms. Marvel, She-Hulk and Eternals. I've loved Thor: Love and Thunder, I love Multiverse of Madness, I just loved it. There has also been recent news on the director and writer for the climax of the Multiverse Saga with I forget his name, the one that did Shang-Chi, directing Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, and Michael Waldron writing Secret Wars. Personally, I'm going to just point this out. I think it's a bad idea having two different directors and two different writers, simply for continuity problems. I'm a bit, I feel like the reason why Infinity War and Endgame were so good is because it was a clear part 1 and part 2 to the conclusion of the Infinity Saga. That's why those films, you watch those films back to back. I don't do the whole Infinity War, then Ant-Man, then Captain Marvel. No, I do Ant-Man, Captain Marvel, and then Infinity War and Endgame. Yeah, the post-credit scenes don't line up, but oh well. You don't have to watch it in chronological order if you don't want to. Or in release order if you don't want to, sorry. But yeah, I do think that Secret Wars, sorry, no, not Secret, yeah, I made a point before about why I'm keen to rewatch Shang-Chi, and that's because that Ant-Man Quantumania, Ms. Marvel, and I forgot what the other one was. But yeah, there's connections between the Ten Rings, the Bangle, and Kang the Conqueror. More so with the Ten Rings, because obviously in the Quantum Realm in Kang's Fortress there were these little ring things that kind of look like the Ten Rings, which makes me have a suspicion that perhaps there is going to be an overarching connection between these artifacts, much like the Infinity Stones. However, I don't personally think they're going to be a driving point like the Infinity Stones were. I think that'll be a bit too, a bit too much of a copy from the Infinity Saga. Just having these objects that the villains, that everyone fights over. I don't think that'll be the case. I think these items will probably work. I theorize Kang probably already has control of them. If he wants to, he can just switch off. He can just switch on the Ten Rings into his own, his own control. I do think that these items will be explored individually in different stories, and then have that ultimate, right, okay, I need to take over now. The Marvels could prove me wrong on that. I do think they will, simply because you know, we have Ms. Marvel coming back in that film, plus we also have Captain Marvel and Photon. The bangle might be connected to something else, but obviously there is this intertwining connection between realms and dimensions and universes in the MCU that's being explored right now, and that could possibly still all link up with Kang, which, you know, I think would be pretty cool. However, it all just depends really on whereabouts whereabouts they wish to go with exploring these connections and things like that. One character I think needs to be introduced is Iron Lad, which is obviously Nathaniel Richards, which is also Kang. So you're probably thinking, well, wait, hang on, Kang's already coming. He Who Remains has already been established, and Kang's coming in Quantumania. So why Nathaniel Richards? I personally think that Marvel should explore the Iron Lad storyline, and have the big reveal that he is a Kang variant. There is an actor, I forget his name, who has been cast in Ant-Man Quantumania, and I feel like he is going to be a young Kang variant. And then we will also meet Iron Lad properly in Armor Wars, and then there'll also be that element, and I think in the Kang Dynasty or in Armor Wars we'll have that big reveal that Iron Lad is a Kang variant, and then he'll become a villain, which I think will be a really cool storyline route. However, I don't think that's going to happen until Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four, I feel like, is going to be a massive, probably the biggest setup to Kang Dynasty since Ant-Man. I feel like all the other films will have similar aspects of how they set up. Personally, I feel like I would like it if each film had a bit more of a routine this time around. Kind of like how in Phase 2 they had the running gag, the Empire Strikes Back gag of sorry, I forget what it's called. The Empire Strikes Back gag of everyone having their hand cut off. You know, it happened in Dark World, it happened in Iron Man 3, it happened in Winter Soldier, in Ant-Man, in Age of Ultron. You know, I feel like in this film, something or someone should be connected to Kang. Kind of like a Where's Wally situation, where you're just looking for a Kang variant, and there's one there. You know, I think that's definitely a possibility. Obviously, next big movies of Phase 5 are, I talk about movies exclusively, Deadpool 3, no, in order, Ant-Man Quantumania, The Marvels, Guardians 3, Blade, and Deadpool 3, Captain America New World Order, and Thunderbolts. I personally get the feeling that each film will probably have their own little connection. The only ones I don't think will are Guardians 3 and Blade. I think Blade is doing his own thing with Midnight Suns. That's where, you know, we'll see Blade, Werewolf by Night, Moon Knight, and the Black Knight. A lot of knights. Black Knight, Moon Knight, and Werewolf show up. But also, you know, with the likes of Deadpool 3 and Captain America, and probably Thunderbolts as well, which I do want to talk about in a second, because yeah, they'll also have little Kang hints, and they'll all come together in Kang Dynasty. With Thunderbolts, now this is more Captain America news, however I think it's going to affect Thunderbolts as well. The new Red Hulk has been cast. Obviously, poor William Hurt passed away early this year, God rest his soul. But they did the opposite of what they were going to do, what they did with T'Challa. Kevin Feige, because obviously T'Challa was a main player in the MCU as a main character, and Chadwick Boseman was obviously contracted to play T'Challa. They didn't recast him out of respect. However, because Red Hulk was always a side character, didn't really have a role in the forefront, he has been officially recast, and none other than Harrison Ford is now playing Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, aka Red Hulk. Now, I'm saying Red Hulk because they wouldn't have done this if they didn't intend on using him, which makes me think that Red Hulk is finally coming. I hope to God this isn't related to the World War Hulk crap, because after She-Hulk I just can't be bothered with any more Hulks. However, if it's related to Thunderbolts, I'm completely fine with it, because I can't wait for that film. The lineup I think is perfect. You know, I was a bit gutted at first that Abomination wasn't joining, but then if they're doing Red Hulk, they don't need Abomination. And I think Abomination's being saved for Masters of Evil anyway, same with Zemo. And whoever else pops up. Crimson Dynamo I think would be a great one in Armor Wars. Crimson Dynamo, Titanium Man, Wonder Man as well. I know Wonder Man's coming. Yeah, Masters of Evil is going to be a really interesting lineup. But on my thoughts on Harrison Ford, don't get me wrong, I love Harrison Ford. Indiana Jones, Han Solo, he's just such a fantastic, incredible actor. But the thing that really confuses me is that, doesn't this guy hate really big franchises? And now he's joining the absolute biggest one that's ever been. Isn't that the case? Does that seem a bit fishy in anyone? Just me? I definitely think there's been something to do to get him on board. I don't see him doing more than 3 films, and I think those 3 films are already in line. I think it's going to be New World Order, Thunderbolts, and then it will also be one of the Avengers films of Phase 6. Just one. I personally think it'll be more likely the Kang Dynasty and not Secret Wars. Or, actually no, I think it'll be the other way around, because Secret Wars is the definitive end of the multiverse saga. Yeah, I think it'll be those 3 films. I think he's signed a 3-film contract. Much like he did with Star Wars originally, then obviously he came back to do Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker. I don't see him doing any more than 3 films, which I'm honestly alright with. Yes, that probably means that we won't be seeing a Hulk versus Red Hulk matchup unless we see it in Secret Wars. I think that'd be a really cool fight scene. Also give Hulk a bit of redemption after getting his ass kicked to Thanos. And whatever the hell that fight scene was with the Abomination and She-Hulk, we just won't talk about that. But yeah, Harrison Ford as Red Hulk, I'm just confused. I think he can do it. I don't doubt him for once. I don't doubt him for a second. I think he's more than capable of playing Red Hulk. But I just think, you know, why someone that hates big franchises like that? You know, if it's the case that, you know, he was personally like, yeah, I'll do it, then fair enough. But I don't see it being without reason that they've just got, oh yeah, let's go for Harrison Ford. You know, he can play a grumpy old man. I think he'd be great. You know, I hope that this is going to be, I hope it's going to work. I do think it's going to work, but at the same time, I do think it's quite possible that you know, it is quite possible that it could just be a blip and it might not be. I think it has been officially confirmed that it is Harrison Ford who's playing the role of Red Hulk. And also another thing that I really, really hope. I hope to God that Marvel sorts out their security team, because there's been far too many leaks. Literally far too many leaks. I mean, the entire slate at SDCC was pretty much announced. I just didn't believe it until I saw it at SDCC. You know, Secret Wars was apparently, you know, there. So was New World Order, so was Thunderbolts, and the only one that I was like completely shocked by was the Kang Dynasty. Because I thought that there was just going to be one Avengers movie, not two. But no, Marvel needs to sort out their... And also this Daniel RPK guy. I keep seeing him pop up. And he keeps saying things like, oh yeah, Andrew will show up in Secret Wars. Hugh Jackman will show up in Secret Wars. He needs to be shut up, in my opinion. I don't mean that in a violent, nasty way. I just think someone needs to tell him to pack it in. Because... the thing is, he's saying a lot of things like, oh yeah, Spider-Man will come out on July 12th, 2024. First of all, that's not a date that just doesn't make any sense to me. Also, another thing that I've kind of just picked up on is that, you know, I just don't think any of it... oh my... okay, the game's kind of glitched a bit. Oh, okay. Weird. Oh, God, the game... yeah, I broke the game. Okay, that's weird. Okay, that's fascinating. No, yeah, I don't think we'll be seeing, I completely forgot my train of thought. Thanks, game. Yeah, that's my own doing that. I kind of broke the game a bit. Yeah, I'm not inside a built. What the hell? This is weird, bro. Yeah, this makes no... sorry. Yeah, that's all I really have to say on that. I forgot. Yeah, no, Daniel... whoever it is keeps leaking it. Thing is, I understand that leaks are a very recurring thing in not just Marvel, but just pop culture in general. Like, you know, leaks kind of happen. You know, they're not predetermined. They just, you know, they just happen. Right now, I can't get out at all. This is annoying me now. Okay, that's kind of cool. The game's broken. Nice. But yeah, I just feel like that the Marvel... the thing is, it's very inconsistent, because Endgame, virtually nothing got leaked. Far From No Way Home, everything got leaked. Everything. Toby, Andrew, Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, you know, Jamie Foxx is the only one that confirmed I'm coming back. Which, okay, that's down on Jamie Foxx to, you know, take the responsibility for that action. But everything else, you know, I don't know what's going on at Marvel, because sometimes they either have great, you know, they either have great security team, you know, like protection, or they have absolute crap ones. Like, what's going on? The reason why it annoys me is because I don't want to see Marvel keep spoiling everything for themselves. You have these ongoing jokes about Kevin Feige, and just him, you know, having like a gun up to everyone's heads when they obviously play. Sorry, what? When did I ever? When someone's ever in an interview talking about, you know, doing a press tour for a new movie, Marvel's always, you know, tight-lipped on that. But it's just everything behind the scenes. I don't know what to believe anymore, because there's so much crap as well. You know, back when the whole Sony-Disney fallout happened, I was like, oh yeah, you know, a new deal's been made. Spider-Man has full access to the MCU and Disney Plus. I'm like, no, it doesn't. Stop making stuff up. But the security team needs to be sorted out at Marvel, because it's getting to be on a joke now. Like, it's to the point where I don't even know what to believe anymore, because like, now he's talking about Doom, and I'm like, you have no evidence. He has no evidence to say that Andrew Garfield's going to be back in Secret Wars and fight an alien. No evidence whatsoever. I don't think even Andrew Garfield knows himself whether he's coming back for Secret Wars. I think I know if he wants to. You know, he knows if he wants to. But yeah, it's just a load of crap. So it all just kind of comes down to oh shoot, what were I? Oh god. It all just kind of comes down to whether or not what the actors want to do and what they're being paid for, and you know, just everything along that front, really. Just kind of whooping these guys' butts.
Nothing like a high-speed
Yeah,
chase
it's everyone.
to keep an eye on his toes.
Yeah, that's kind of all my thoughts really on everything going on at the moment with the MCU. I haven't obviously spoke about any of it for a while. So in summary, Wakanda Forever, amazing. Ant-Man looks amazing. Well, Night by Night was amazing. She-Hulk, dog. Ms. Marvel, rubbish. Armor Wars being a movie now, awesome. Harrison Ford being Red Hulk, okay, let's see what happens. And yeah, just that's kind of where my current thought process on what the MCU's looking like. Holiday Special as well looks amazing. I didn't really talk about that too much. I know I did, but not. I don't really have much to say on it, to be honest. I'm just looking forward to it. It just looks really good. Yeah, it's been a good hour talking about the MCU again. I haven't done that for a while. I think my main focus for the channel is going to be The Walking Dead, because obviously that is literally ending in 4 weeks, in 3 weeks now. The end of Walking Dead. That's just, yeah, that's going to kind of take over my main. Yeah, and obviously EastEnders as well with Mick Carter's exit storyline. Did a stream on that the other day. But yeah, since Marvel's not going anywhere, it's like I don't really have to talk about it that much. I will also, I don't think anyone cares, but I know I do. I'm getting sick of talking about the MCU as an entirety to just Spider-Man. If I'm talking about Spider-Man or multiple Spider-Man, then yeah, I'll play this game. Also, I genuinely love this game. However, it just feels annoying when all I play is this game for the sake of talking about the MCU, and I'm using the same skins as well, because normally I don't really use the Andrew or Toby skin unless I'm talking about a multiverse saga project that could potentially include Toby and Andrew. You know, if No Way Home gets a release date on Disney Plus, and yeah, I'll probably hop on this game and just rave about that for a bit. But for the most part, I want to start playing this game again in relation to the actual Spider-Man game lore, rather than just talking about the MCU as a whole. So I'm open to suggestions on what games you think I should play instead. I know I do have the first Lego Marvel Superheroes game. I took that game with me to uni because it was, you know, a big part of my childhood. So I just, you know, on a night like tonight, I might revisit it. Might actually start playing it over the next week because next week is going to be kind of dead for me anyway. Because of it, next week is my mentor week at uni. So Monday I'm not doing anything besides going to the gym. I'm in on Tuesday for about half an hour and then that's me done. I'm in on the Wednesday for a bit. I'm in on the Thursday for a bit, not doing anything the Friday. And then obviously I'm going to have an extended gaming weekend or something. And I am going to see Wakanda Forever though next week. So I will be coming back with a thoughts video on that. Might end up being this game I play, although I don't want to talk about Black Panther for on a Spider-Man game. I don't have Avengers. I don't have the Avengers game on PlayStation 4. I only play it on Xbox with my brother. So I can't really talk about that. I'll work something out with Black Panther. It might just be that I grind the crap out of Lego Marvel Superheroes and I play as Black Panther for a bit. It's all I can do really. But yeah, I'm buzzing for Wakanda Forever. I've seen that obviously this week or next week. And there's not really much else to talk about. You know, there's really not much else to talk about. So I think just to switch things up a bit, I'll probably start playing Lego Marvel Superheroes 1 in relation to other... Oh god. In relation to MCU content, which I love that game anyway, so, you know, it doesn't really matter at all. If anyone really is against me playing Lego Marvel Superheroes 1, then please give me a reason why. Because if I don't have a reason why, then I'm just going to still do it anyway. But yeah, the only reason I kind of haven't done that already is because I need to replay the story again, which I'm actually really excited for, because I think the first Lego Marvel Superheroes game had a story that was just that good. It's made me wish that the entire MCU was like that to begin with, because the first Lego Marvel Superheroes game has, you know, it has everything. It has the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, the Guardians. It has Spider-Man. It has Black Panther. It has all these different characters. You know, Doctor Doom, Magneto, Green Goblin, Loki, Galactus, Destroyer. All these amazing different characters. Just the game's a masterpiece in my opinion. Yeah, probably in now my top 3 favourite Lego games of all time. Well, after the Skywalker Saga, of course, that's my number 1. But yeah, just I cannot wait to carry on talking about these games and these movies. I think Marvel's definitely going back into a great place again. I'm so excited for it. But yeah, that's going to be it from me in this stream. Thank you to anyone who's popped in here and there. I'll see you all soon, and peace out. Bye bye.